Hi, Vani. Uh, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the question answers?
Well, I run an early stage venture fund based out of Bangalore, India. We are actually into our second fund, and the total fund is now 350 million under management. We love to work with new entrepreneurs who have bright ideas and are looking to take their ideas into large scale enterprises rapidly. We like being early investors with those companies, and to date we have made 35 investments in India since 2006. I myself come from a strong entrepreneurial background, and that gives me immense fulfillment in working and seeing these new entrepreneurs blossom and become great business leaders and convert their dreams into realities.
So, Vani, that's very interesting. One concern or one issue that a student, when he's passing out of a management school or an engineering school, dabbles with is that he has some bright idea, he wants to take it to the market, he believes that is something what people will use. But a lot of people tell him that, you must go out, get some experience first. What is your view on it? Is experience important, or if you have an idea, just go out and do it?
I think both are very valid. It really depends on the individual, honestly, because sometimes experience gives you the domain knowledge to do something, right? And sometimes the power of the idea is so strong that there is no domain knowledge that can help you. So if you have an idea around social media that didn't exist before Facebook, no amount of experience is going to help you.
Right.
On the other hand, let's say you are going to start a retail chain selling groceries. I am just making up. Maybe you need to understand how the supply system works and so many other things, and if you don't have any knowledge of it, you might not be able to do it. Sometimes ideas come from your own work experience because you see what is broken and you have an idea to do that. So the thing is, when you have a great idea that you think solves a very important problem, start a company. It is not, and if you don't have an idea, then you should go get work experience, and maybe that will create ideas.
So in case a student chooses to start a company, he has an idea, he thinks that he is going to be successful. Does our ecosystem support such kind of startups?
See, I think the question itself in my mind is flawed. I think there is a sense of entitlement that if I have an idea, I must receive support, right? Actually, you don't need to receive any support from anyone, or you will not receive any support from anyone until those ideas have in some way or the other been validated. That doesn't always have to mean revenue. Maybe there's a brilliant product, and entrepreneurship is a hard journey. So many times there is this notion that, oh, I have an idea but the industry doesn't support me. Industry will support ideas that can demonstrate traction, ideas that can call attention to themselves, right? So I don't think this question ought to be around industry doesn't support, because many of the best ideas are bootstrapped. People somehow find a way to produce some validation to their idea and small amounts of money. So until you get there, it is you and your idea, and it's up to you to prove validation. And I think that any good company does receive funding when it has shown that it has some value proposition. But remember that 1% of companies get funded that investors normally see. So what happens to the remaining 99? They didn't get funded. So, I think that this notion that, will industry support a young person with an idea? The answer is both yes and no. They'll support it if they find some excitement about it. If there are lots of question marks about it, then you have to take it a little further on your own. And the problem always is, well, I don't have money, how do I take it on my own?
Right.
But that's the catch-22. Maybe you should work for a while, save some money, put that into your own idea. Or you need to tap into your friends and family who believe in you, not just your idea. So you have to get your idea to fruition. That's your challenge and responsibility.
That brings me to a very interesting question. When I left Google to start my new company, I don't think my idea was at a stage where I needed to leave the company, but I left it purely on ethical reasons, as my employment agreement with Google did not allow me to do something on the side. What do you think, what are your views on moonlighting?
You know, it works different ways for different people. All of this comes back to really knowing yourself. For example, when I started my first company, I quit cold turkey because I wanted the time. At that time, I had a child, a company, and working, and then doing something on the side. You know, it's sort of like studying part-time. Some people can do it, some people can't do it. And for me, I need singular focus. To succeed, I need to focus all my energies and channel that. That's who I am, okay? So I decided that if I'm going to do this, then I'll jump with both feet and do it. Maybe for somebody else that's not practical or that's not necessary. So it has to do with your personality. But remember, by the time you go for funding, if typically I find someone still in a job and they bring the business to me and they say, when I get funded, I will quit my job. Somehow, you know, I feel that they are not putting themselves or communicating themselves with sufficient commitment enough to take the risk of quitting their job. So if you are formulating an idea and you still don't know, then maybe you can continue to work and think about it, mull about it. But when you're serious about building a company versus just ideating, if you're serious about building a company, then that's what you ought to do full time.
Okay. So moonlighting works only during the planning stage.
Yeah.
On the execution stage, you need to be on it 100%.
Well, that's my perspective at least, right?
Awesome. Great. What do you think about building teams? You know, one of the issues that I dabbled with was that should I bring somebody very experienced, with somebody who's worked with a large brand, exposed to a lot of technology to come on board, vis-a-vis getting a geek who's just out of his engineering college. He loves to build new products. He's very passionate to do something new. In your opinion, which is something that you would go with?
I think you need a team that gels, okay, that works in a startup culture, which is chaotic, nothing is defined. Today we are doing this, tomorrow we are doing... And the co-founders and the whole team is like one family, so there has to be good chemistry, right? It is not a structured job or a structured role. So I think it's really important, more than brand or geek. It is really about, maybe you have a classmate who's, you know, a senior person somewhere and you can convince him to join, then fine, all the power. But I think that it really is about the co-founding team having strong chemistry to work together and having complementary and diversified skills, because there can't be enough hands and legs in a startup. There's so many things to do.
Correct.
And you're juggling all the time. So you need to be able to catch it. And everyone needs to have the same mindset that says we are going to be capital efficient. You know, startup is not where you're going to get paid like a corporate would pay, and you have to be willing to make those sacrifices, right? So I think what is really important to me is the team chemistry, than it is whether the person has a lot of experience, great, or no experience, can still live with it if they can supplement that with competence and knowledge and passion. Far more the passion and commitment overrides somebody's doubt and insecurity about doing startup.
But as an investor, when you look at a team, which is it okay for you to have a team which comprises of people who have not worked in large organizations?
It doesn't stop me from investing. I really think it's how the team communicates itself. And like I said, if I see the clarity of thought in them to what they're doing, then, you know, the experience is not a factor or a barrier.
Okay. From the investor point of view, what are you more comfortable with? A company which has one founder or a company which has a team of co-founders?
Team of co-founders is preferred, but remember, if the team of co-founders haven't sorted out who's who. For example, sometimes I'll see team of co-founders that say we are all equal and any one of us could be a CEO. No, every company, it's not democratic. There is a CEO. Of course, there can be consensus-based discussion, but at the end of the day, we look to who is the CEO who's going to arbitrate everything, right? So a team of co-founders, when their roles and responsibilities are clearly defined and they bring together in a collection a strength that is greater than an individual, then that is fantastic and preferred, right? But if the co-founder dynamics haven't been sorted out, then that's a disaster.
What is your one tip to somebody who's founding a company? What is that one skill that he must have, and one tip for them?
Skill is really about being able to hustle. You know, you have to create business, right? And you have to figure out how your business is going to make money. So that, I think, is the skill, their ability to constantly be able to sell their company. They're selling it to investors, they're selling it to employees, they're selling it to suppliers, they're selling it to customers. So the ability to represent your company, essentially. That's a very important skill, and your ability to communicate what you're representing very clearly in a way that's exciting is an important skill. Tip, it's a long road and a long journey. I think you have to be prepared to persevere, and doubt is poison, and self-belief at times that sounds and appears to others delusional and illogical, but I think that's a characteristic that is critical for an entrepreneur to march ahead.
Awesome. Vani, thank you so much for sharing your views. I'm sure this is going to be useful to our audience.
Thank you.
Thanks.